Hello and welcome to Physical Science. I've made this short little video for you to help you understand how to navigate your Canvas course shell and do all the things that you need to do in order to be successful this semester in our class. So obviously this is an online course and you're going to be accessing your course materials through Canvas. So when you log into your Canvas course shell, you'll find the banner at the top of the page. And it will look something like this. And so you'll see the title of the course is, of course, Physical Science, the name of the course up here, and this up above is the course code. And so you can see this is actually the number that designates the course in our campus bulletin. And then after the dash, you'll see a number, and that's actually the section number of the course. And so, once a class gets a certain number of students in it, they consider that class full, and then they make another section. And so this is section 36 of Physical Science 1. And down below the banner with the name, you'll see some buttons, and you'll see a Start Here button, the Modules button, and the Syllabus button, and More Resources. And I may change that to something else, but basically there'll be some buttons that will take you directly to certain important parts of the course. Now, the main one that we want to talk about is the Modules button, and because this is where you go to access the modules for the course, and almost everything important in the course can be found in the modules. So the Start Here button will actually take you to the first thing that you have to do in the modules, but this will take you to the full modules page. And then over here you can see the syllabus. You can get a link to a page that'll show you the course syllabus and the course outline, and I'll talk about those shortly. And then finally, there'll be another button here. Right now I've got it listed as More Resources, but I may put something more specific there. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, these are basically shortcuts to access some important parts of the course. Now, if you're looking at the Canvas shell, over on the left side, you'll see a bunch of course links, and that includes all the things down here, but some other things as well. And so here I'm showing you over on the left, the links for different parts of the course. Now again, there is the modules page, which is the heart of the course. Every week you're going to have to do a new module, so each week you're going to want to log in, go to the modules page, scroll down to the module that you're supposed to do that week, and complete that work. Now, just below that is the MyLab and Mastering homework system, and you can go there to access all your homework directly. Now, as you'll see in a few minutes, if you go to the modules page, if you go down to, module 7 or whatever module you're at, it will include links to the homework that you're supposed to do that week. So you probably never ever need to actually even click on this link, but you can if you want. You can go directly and see all the homework assignments that you have finished over the semester, but the modules is probably where you really just want to go to get all your homework done. Down below that is the red shelf, and if you've taken a class from us before, you might be familiar with the red shelf already, but if not, it's next to the modules. It's the next most important part of the course, and I'm actually going to talk about it in a little bit more detail in the next slide. But let's just go down and finish the rest of these. They're all pretty straightforward. Your grades is where you go to see your grade book, where you'll see all your graded assignments. And from there, you can see how you're doing in the course. You can see what your grade is and whatnot. And if you're missed an assignment, you'll be able to see that, I don't have a grade for that assignment. I need to go in and complete it. Down below the link for grades is a link to the syllabus and the course outline for the course that you're in. And then down below that is a link to the Smarter Proctoring tool. And most of you won't need to use this. One of the requirements of our course is that we must have a proctored in-person midterm exam and a proctored in-person final exam. So you'll actually have to come on campus and take a test in person while I or some other faculty member watches you to make sure that you're not cheating. Not that you would do that, of course, but there are some nefarious people out there that who would. So we're going to hope that you're not one of those. But anyway, to kind of prevent cheating in the course, we make sure that you have to come in and take these exams, which count for a significant part of your grade. So if you bomb the midterm and you bomb the final because you had someone else do the work for you, you're not going to do well in the class. And so that's why it counts so much. So what does a smarter proctoring have to do with that? Well, this is an online class, and so many of our students taking it might be in a completely different county or even in another state. And so we can't expect someone that lives, 6 hours away to drive up here for the midterm. And so we have the possibility of arranging for you to take your test locally at another college or university, and you can arrange that through the Smarter Proctoring tool. But if you live near or on one of the Northwest campuses, there'll be places and times scheduled for you to come just take it on the Northwest campus, and you won't ever have to worry about using the Smarter Proctoring tool. But, if you are a student at Itawamba Community College and you're taking this course at Northwest Mississippi Community College, you might want to use the Smarter Proctoring tool so that you don't have to drive up here to take your midterm or your final exam. Now, another part of the course is that there are going to be a few discussion boards that you'll have to participate in. There's some questions for you to think about, and you have to answer what you think the answer to the question is, and then discuss your answer and the answers of your other students. It's a way of fostering community in a class, us getting to know each other a little bit better, and it's a nice part of the course. And so there are a few discussions throughout the course, and you will be able to find them in the module. So if you're supposed to do a discussion board on week 5, that discussion board will be linked in the module for week 5. Now, but of course, before I go on, you can get all your discussions. You can click here and see all the discussions in the course. You won't be able to access them until they're available, but you'll be able to see them as they become available by clicking here. But again, really, the modules is where the course is. You're going to do everything in the module, so you probably won't ever need to even click this link. Now, for your convenience, I've gone ahead and put a link into your My NWCC portal. This is your student portal for accessing things not necessarily having to do with this class, but other things that you need to do in navigating your time at Northwest. And then finally, there's a Zoom link here. I'm gonna, in a later slide in this video, I'm gonna talk about how you can contact me and get help if you have any questions or if you're struggling with anything in the course. But one option is that we might be able to set up a Zoom session during my office hours so that you can get help if you need that. Now I want to go back and talk about the red shelf, because that is next to the modules. That's the next most important link over here. So right here you can see the link to the red shelf, and I want to point out that it contains a couple of important things. The first thing that it contains is an access code that will let you use the MyLab and Mastering homework system. All your homework assignments are made through the MyLab and Mastering system, but you have an access code. Now the good news is you've already paid for it. It's already included in your tuition, so there's nothing for you to buy to access the homework, but you do need to get a code for it. And so that code that you need to access the homework system, the MyLab and Mastering homework system, that's available in the red shelf. And another thing that you'll find is the ebook for the course. Now, so if you click here, if you click on the red shelf button, it'll take you to another page that looks something like this. Now, if you look here, you'll see two things. You'll see the ebook, Conceptual Physical Science. That is our textbook. This is Conceptual Physical Science. And so you can click on the link here, and that will open up your ebook, and that's where you'll be able to do all of your reading assignments. And also here is the code for your homework system. Now the good news is you only have to enter that code in once. You don't have to enter it every time you want to do a homework assignment, but you will click here and you'll be able to access that code. And I believe you can actually cut and paste it. So if you come here to the red shelf and you go to the code for your homework system, you can cut and you can copy it and then go do your first homework assignment, and when it asks for the code, you can just paste it in, and then it'll be verified that you're a student in the class and that you have access to the homework system, and you'll be able to do all the rest of your assignments for the rest of the semester. Now, once you've got the code for your homework and you know how to access your ebook, you can go ahead and start working on the material for the rest of the class. And as I said, you'll find all of that in the modules. And so I'm going to show you a little bit about navigating the modules page. So when you click on any of those modules buttons on the home page, it'll take you to the modules page. And at the top of the page, you'll see something that looks like this. Now at the very tip top of the page, you'll see the Watch Me First video, and that's this video. That's it. So if you are watching this video, you're good to go for that. Now down below that is the module where you have to enter an access code from the Canvas Student Online Orientation. And this is something that you have to do before you can complete the course. This online orientation is this, actually I'm not sure what it is. I didn't make that part of the course. That's provided to me. And it's just kind of an overview of how to use Canvas and do some things, and there's a little quiz. So basically you have to take that little quiz and pass it before you can do anything else in the course. So once you have completed the quiz in the online orientation module, you'll be able to access the rest of the modules. Now down below that are direct links to your syllabus and course outline, and you'll be able to click here and download them and print them out. And so let me just take a moment and explain the difference, because this is something that Northwest does that I haven't seen anywhere else do. A lot of places they'll sort of combine the syllabus and course outline for whatever course you're talking about, but we break it up. And so we have what's called the standard course syllabus, and that's all the information that's the same for every version of this class. So you might be taking this class from me, or you might be taking this class from another faculty member, and each faculty member is going to teach the class a little bit differently. Like I might cover a chapter that another professor doesn't cover, and they might cover a chapter that I don't cover. And so there are some variations in the material covered and, assignments and whatnot. And so what we do is we break it up. And so this document at the top, the standard course syllabus, that's the things that are the same for every course. Things like the campus attendance policy, things like accommodations under the Americans with Disabilities Act. These are the things that apply to every course, that regardless of who the instructor is. Now down below that is the course outline, and that's specific to the course that you're taking. That tells you what chapters you're going to cover, how you're going to be graded, what your responsibilities in the class are, that sort of thing. And so you should definitely print these guys out and read through them, because they tell you what you need to do for the course. Now, I've taken a part of the course outline, which is a list of all the assignments and their due dates, and I've printed it out as a single page PDF. So you can download this and print this out, and then you can just at a glance, you can see each week what you're supposed to do for that week. And so I did that. Hopefully you'll find that convenient. Now, if you scroll down below these guys, you'll find all the course modules that you have to do, where it's the actual work that you're going to have to put into the course. And basically, every week you're going to have to do a module. So in the first week, you're going to have to complete all the tasks in Module 1. The second week, you're going to have to complete all the tasks in Module 2. The third week, I think you're getting the pattern, you're going to have to complete all the tasks in Module 3. And so if you scroll down, you'll see Module 1, Module 2, etc. And I generally will give you the opportunity to work ahead a little bit. So you might see an extra, you might see the module you're supposed to do this week and maybe the module for next week if you want to get a head start on it. You never know what's going to happen. You might get sick next week, or you might have a lot going on in your life, or, just whatever. And so if you work ahead a little bit, it can give you a little bit of cushion in case something just life happens and you just need a little bit of breathing room. So I really recommend that if you have the chance to work ahead, it's always a good idea. So I wanted to show you what this looks like. And so here's what Module 4 looks like. Now at the top of every module is the module instructions. And what you'll find is that it's very short. It gives you a task list of all the things you have to do that week. It gives you your reading assignment. It talks a little bit about some of the things that are going to be covered, kind of gives you just a very quick and broad overview. And so, take a minute. It generally won't take you more than a minute or two to read the instructions, but definitely when you start a new module, the first thing you should do is click here. It'll take you to the page with the instructions, and you should read those instructions. Now, down below that, you see the lecture content. And so from here to here, you can see I've got a combination of things. I've got a PowerPoint file. The little PPTX tells you that it's a PowerPoint. And then I've got a link to the lecture video that corresponds to that PowerPoint. And so I've got, Chapter 4, Part 1, Chapter 4, Part 2, and Chapter 4 only has 2 lecture videos, and they're each probably 20 or 30 minutes long. Generally, there's about an hour-ish of lecture videos, and so you may find that some modules have lots of lecture videos in them. That's because some of the chapters in our textbook, it might be over a topic that has lots of different aspects to it. And so rather than overwhelming you with one giant video that's an hour long that covers all of those things, I might have, 5 10-minute videos, or I might have 3 20-minute videos or something like that. So that's why you'll see different videos. It just really depends on what's in the chapter and how many different topics there are. So if you get to a module and you see there's like 7 videos, lecture videos, they're not all going to be 30-minute videos. They're going to be, 5, 10, 15 minutes. They'll be shorter. As I said, typically you're going to get about an hour's worth of lecture content-ish in each module. And in addition to the lecture videos, there's also a page with some supplemental videos. Now, if you're reading your textbook, which is, of course, an online digital textbook, what you'll find is the textbook will be describing something, and then there'll be a little QR code off to the margin that you can scan with your phone, and that little QR code will take you to a video that might show a clarification of what you're reading, or it might show a demonstration of the physical principle, or something like that. These little videos, they're very nice. Now, I haven't put every single video from the textbook into that page. I've sort of curated the ones that I think are really valuable. And, they're typically short. Some of them are 5 or 6 minutes, but most of them are like 2 or 3 minutes each. And, there might be an additional 15 or 20 minutes of videos. I kind of shoot for about 80 to 90 minutes of total video time for you to watch each week. And if, that may seem like a lot, but it's really not. If you were taking this class in person, you would have to come for 2 50-minute lectures. And these videos that I'm putting up for you, that's basically the material that I would cover in the lectures. So you definitely want to watch all those videos. And I want to mention a few other things that are very important, because you've got three different things here. In the module instructions, you're going to get a reading assignment in your textbook. And then you're going to watch the lecture videos, and then you're going to watch the supplemental videos. You have to do all 3 to get all the content for the course, because obviously there's going to be a lot of overlap, and that's a good thing that there's overlap, because if you see something more than one time, you're going to be more likely to remember it. But there are things in the supplemental videos that are not in the lecture videos. And so if you just watch the lecture videos and you don't watch the supplemental videos, you're going to be missing some things. And similarly, There are things in the reading assignments that I don't cover in any of the videos, and there are things that are in the videos that aren't in the reading assignment, because I try to add extras when I can. So in order to see everything, you really have to do all three. And that brings me to something that I really, really, really want to emphasize, and I really, really, really hope you'll listen to me because it's super important. You need to do these things actively. You can't just put the video on while you're surfing through Facebook and expect to get anything out of it. If you're not paying attention, you're not going to learn anything. And the same thing goes for reading. If you've got the TV on while you're trying to read, you're distracted, you're not paying attention. So when you do these things, focus, pay attention to them. These videos are typically short. As I said, I tried to make them 10 to 20 minutes. It's really not a good idea to watch them all back to back in one setting. Watch a video, then take a break, go to the bathroom, go make yourself a sandwich, that might be a good time in between the videos to get on Facebook for a few minutes and do something, Rather than trying to absorb everything all at once, do it in short little pieces and create breaks. And that's very good for helping you remember things. Now, another thing that I want to really strongly suggest is that you take notes. Now, you can see I have provided you with the PowerPoints that go with the lectures, and so you can print these PowerPoints out, and the lecture videos go along with the PowerPoint. So that'll make it super easy for you to take notes and add to them. And there was a very, very famous paper published in the field of psychology about the middle of the last century, and that paper was called The Magic Number 7 Plus or Minus 2. That's a weird name for a paper, but it was about a very important psychological phenomenon, and it has to do with how we learn and remember things. Now, we have two main kinds of memory. We have what's called short-term memory and long-term memory. If you know something, if you know a skill or you know a fact, it's because it's been transferred into your long-term memory. Your short-term memory is for juggling things you need day to day. So, if you need a phone number, I read a phone number off a page, and then I go to my phone. I can keep that phone number in my short-term memory long enough to use it, but, I have my conversation. By the time I hang up, that phone number, I'd have to look it up again. I'm not going to remember it because it was only in my short-term memory. So how do you get things from your short-term memory into your long-term memory? You have to rehearse them. You have to practice them. You have to do them over and over again, multiple times. Have breaks in between. That's how you make that transfer. Now, the magic number 7 refers to the fact that for most people doing most memory tasks, there are about 7 available slots in your short-term memory. That means you can hold up about 7 pieces of information in your short-term memory. That's why phone numbers are 7 digits long, because people can easily remember 7 digits in their short-term memory and not have too much trouble doing that. But once you've got those 7 short-term memory slots filled up, if you try to put something else into your short-term memory, something gets kicked out. If I want to put an 8th thing into my short-term memory, one of the original 7 things I learned gets kicked out. That means if you're reading your textbook and you read 7 facts, when you read that 8th fact, one of those 7 facts is going to be kicked out of your memory. And so you're just not going to remember very much of what you read. The same thing is true of watching a video. You're not going to remember most of what goes on in the video. That's why note-taking is so very important, because when you take notes, you can condense the most important parts of what you're reading or watching into reminders. And your brain is really good at filling in gaps, so you don't have to write down every word. You don't have to copy the entire textbook, but you can jot down some notes about what's in it to jog your memory, and it will basically circumvent that limitation of only having 7 slots, because you can take, if a chapter has 25 pieces of information in them, you can record all of those 25 pieces of information, and then you can work at them a few at a time until you get them transferred into your long-term memory. And so the long and the short of it is take notes. In this class, take notes. And I'm going to tell you, very often I get emails from my students and they tell me, Dr. McPherson, I'm having trouble with the homework. I don't know what to do. I don't even understand what the homework is asking. And I'll say, well, show me the notes that you took on the videos, or show me the notes that you took on the textbook. And they'll tell me, oh, I haven't watched the videos yet, or I haven't read the textbook yet. And I'm like, what's going on? How can you expect to do the work in the class if you haven't, prepared, if you haven't learned what you're supposed to learn? And so, taking notes is a way for you to show me that you've made a really good faith effort and you're struggling, and I'm going to bend over backwards to help you. But, I can't pour the information into your brain. There's work that you have to do. And so, do watch the videos, do the reading assignments, and do take notes. These are very important things to be successful in the course. Now, once you've done all of that, you can go on and do the assignments. And so here you can see Chapter 4 assignment. This is the module number 4. And so you'll click here and it'll take you to the Mastering Homework System and you can do the assignment. Now, not every module, but a good number of modules have extra credit homework options. And extra credit means you don't have to do them. If you don't do them, it doesn't penalize you at all. But they are, as I said, extra credit. So if you do them, you get extra points. So if you do the regular assignment and you miss 5 points out of that assignment, here's an extra credit assignment that might have 8 points in it. And so you might be able to get 6 of the 8 points in the extra credit, and you'd do better than 100%, even though you missed some up here, because the extra credit points replace the points that you miss. And so this is a great way for you to pull up your homework grade. I really strongly recommend you do those extra credit assignments when they're available. Once you finish your homework, then you have the Chapter 4 test. Now the main difference between the test and the homework is that the test is timed. It's still open notes, open book, but you're not going to be having time to read through the book to figure stuff out. That's why taking notes is so important. If you have your notes, you've got a condensed form of all the information that you can study. And then when you take that test, if you've got good notes and you've studied them well, there's no reason why you shouldn't ace the test. Now, another thing that's very important to know is that Northwest has an attendance policy. This is actually mandated to us by the state, and our college is actually reimbursed by the state depending on our attendance. And so they're very serious about us taking attendance because it involves money. And anytime money gets involved, people freak out. So we have to take attendance. What does that mean in an online class? Well, every week you're going to have a new module and you're going to have a bunch of things. Maybe you have to do a discussion board. Maybe you have to do an assignment. Maybe you have to take a test. Well, you have to do one thing in a module every week to be counted present for that week. So if you're on week 3, you're doing module 3, you have to do something in module 3 to be marked present. So if you do absolutely nothing in that module, you'll be marked absent. And the Northwest policy is that basically if you miss so many absences in a class, you'll be automatically withdrawn from the class. Now, in this class, you're allowed 2 weeks worth of absences. So if there's a week and you don't do any homework, if you don't take the test, if you don't do the discussion board, if you do nothing that week, you're going to be marked absence. If that happens another week, you're going to be marked with a second absence. The third time it happens, you get automatically withdrawn from the course. Now, if you do get withdrawn from a course, there is a possibility of appealing it. Maybe you got sick and you weren't able to do work for a couple of weeks, but you feel like you can catch up now. You can talk to your professor about that. You can file an appeal, and you may be able to get back into the course and finish the work. But those don't always happen. If you just procrastinated and you forgot to do the work, they're probably not going to let you back in. So you need like a real reason to be let back in. Now, the best thing is to just not be withdrawn in the first place by doing work every week. Now, ideally, you'll come every week and you'll do all the assignments, because if you don't do all the assignments every week, you're not going to do well in the course. But if you have one bad week and you just can't finish everything, just do something. You don't even have to do the whole homework assignment. If you just go in and work one homework problem, that would be submitting work for that week and you'd be marked present. And so you definitely want to do that. Now, there's a very important exception to this. You have to do something the first week. If you don't do anything the first week of class, you get withdrawn as a no-show. So if you don't show up and do some work the first week, you automatically get kicked out of the class. And that's an important thing. By the way, I want to mention something that's very important. If you're a full-time student and you have any sort of financial aid, if you stop being a full-time student because you got withdrawn from a class, that could impact your financial aid. So the best course is to just make sure you log in every week and you do some work, and ideally you'll do all the work that week and you'll do really well in the class. Now, here's the thing that most people care about in a class. How am I going to get my grade? So I took this out of the course outline for the course that I already talked about. But basically, I have a normal grading scale. 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, and so on. And the way that your grade is assessed is you're going to have your homework in the Mastering Physical Science system that I've talked about, and all of those grades together get averaged, and that accounts for 15% of your grade. We're going to have a few class discussions over the course of the semester, and they are graded class discussions, and those account for 10% of your grade. And then we have the chapter tests. All those chapter tests in each module, their grades get averaged together, and they account for 25% of your grade. And then finally, we have our midterm and our final exam. Remember, these are in-person, proctored midterm and final exams, and together they account for a whopping 50% of your grade. They're 25% each. So you need to make sure that you come prepared to those tests. Now, I'm actually, over the course of the semester, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how to get ready for those, what to study. So I'm going to try to not have any surprises for you, but I just want you to be aware that that proctored midterm and final, they do take up a big chunk of your grade. And again, they're in person, and you actually have to study. They're not open book, they're not open notes. You have to come and you have to be able to answer the questions based on what you've learned. Now, the good news is, in this class, they're not comprehensive. So we're going to cover some material, and then you're going to have the midterm exam about halfway through the semester over that material. And then we're going to cover some more material. You'll have the final exam. That's only going to be covering material since the midterm. It doesn't cover the entire semester's worth. That's one way I try to cut you guys a break. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is how to get help. And so if you go to the Canvas homepage for the course, you can kind of see a little bit of the blue from the banner. Up here it says Physical Science, if you remember, in that blue banner. Down below are the buttons, the quick buttons to get to different parts of the course. I didn't show you this before, but underneath that is my contact information. And so you can see my name. I'm, by the way, Dr. Michael McPherson. And here is my email. And so you can send me an email anytime you need to get help with something, or you can just drop me a message in the Canvas messaging system. Either way, you can contact me through Canvas or through email. I'm really happy to respond to you. I always try to respond within 24 hours during the week, and usually within 48 hours on the weekends. If we have a 3-day weekend and I'm going on a camping trip or something, I'm going to be out of sorts, I'll let you guys know. But I'm always going to work with you guys and do my best to be very responsive and get you help when you need help with things. So you can also see my phone number here. This is from my office phone. And then down here are my office hours. And so you're welcome to call me, and you have a good chance of getting me during my office hours. Now, my preferred method of contact is for you to either use email or the Canvas messaging system. because my office hours are for my in-person students as well. And if I have 4 or 5 students come for help, I can't help them all in my office. And so we go down to a little classroom and we work together on whatever their issues are. And that happens quite a lot. So I'm not actually always in my office during my office hours because I might be helping a student down the hall in another room. So if you need to speak to me on the phone, shoot me an email and just let me know ahead of time so I can make sure to be available to receive your phone call. Other than that, you can leave a message and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. So I do have voicemail that works just as well. And let me end this by just saying, if you need help, please reach out to me. If I don't know that you need help, I can't help you. I promise you're not going to bother me. It's part of my job to answer your questions. So if you have any questions about the course or about the content of the course or anything having to do with the course, just shoot me an email. If you're struggling with studying and you want some advice, I'll be happy to talk to you about it, help you come up with a plan. I really want you to be successful in this course. So I know this video is going on longer than I intended for it to go on, so I'm going to end it here. But hopefully you now know what all you need to do, and you can get started, ASAP and get your first work done. So what are you going to do next? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to go to the modules page and do the Canvas orientation, and you have that quiz there so that you can complete that, and then you'll be able to access your assignments. Now, we also have this first week of class is an introductory discussion board where I ask you to introduce yourself to the class and then respond to a couple of your classmates about what they wrote. So that's really the main thing that you want to do first is go ahead and get that discussion board out of the way, and then you can go on to the assignments, the videos, the lectures, and the homework and the test, okay? So again, reach out if you have any questions, if you need any help, and I will be available.